I'm Akram. In this program, we'll be talking about all kind of different health issues with different experts in the field. But today we're going to talk something really important: the secrets behind medical school entrance. So sit back, relax, and enjoy your time with us. Let's look at, UK population has increased from 58.5 million in 1998 to 68 million in 2020. About 40 medical schools produces doctors to serve this population. On the contrary to population rise, medical school seat has barely increased over the past. 3,800 seats in 1998, barely 7,300 in 2019. On the other hand, 47,000 students applied for medical schools in 2019. Only 1 in 6 got selected for the courses. The competition to get into one of the medical schools is so fierce. Not only students' academic performances count, his ability to be physically fit, to do different challenges, his musical, drama skills, his ability to cope with stress, do voluntary work, all this counts. If one don't have proper guidance, it seems impossible to get into medical school, even he has got A stars in all his GCSE subjects. Well, that's the reason I decided to bring someone on the field. He's one of the interviewers for medical schools, and so we can clarify the things. Why is it so difficult to get into one of the medical schools, even though we need lots of doctors to work here? There are, I think it's about 1/3 of the UK doctors are foreign doctors who are trained, who studied and trained in abroad, and they come and work here. So why we can't send our kids to medical school? So this is a really important program. So guys, sit down and watch, and you can also call us because this is a live program. So to start the program, please welcome Dr Mohamed Ramali, who is a consultant anaesthetist working in Essex, and he's an undergraduate tutor, and he also sits in medical school interview panel. Ramali, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, Akram, for inviting me again. Very happy to be back.
That's great. We have done lots of great programs with you, Ramali. And all your programs been watched with lots of our viewers. They really like it.
Thank you. Very nice feedback.
Okay, lovely. Okay, let's talk. Now we know a little bit about you, but let's talk. What do you do with these medical students and these interviews? What is your role in there?
Yes, Akram. So all doctors, they love teaching. They're passionate teachers. So I love teaching. So medical profession is a very noble population, and people or students who want to get into medical school, the genuine ones, I think we should give them a fair chance. So I was very keen in helping out anyone who wants to come and talk to me. How can I get into medical students? I've been advising them for last 10 years. So as you rightly said, I sit on one of the leading medical schools interview panel. So I have my own experience, and also I have sent from my, not that I sent, 2 of my household, both my children managed to get into medical school.
The medical school.
Yeah, so I saw what they've done. And so from their aspect also I have experience. So just to encourage everyone, if somebody genuinely wants to get into medical school, they can get in. It may not happen first time, but if they keep on trying, just the biggest encouragement, they can get in at some stage. So don't lose heart, and I will tell you in this program the entire process of getting what you need to do to get into medical school. It's not just one exam. There is a process which I will be explaining, Akram.
That's why we plan this program, isn't it? Because this medical school entrance is not straightforward.
No, it's very competitive. I know one particular where my daughter got into medical school. For one person got in, 11 were rejected.
11
that
were
was
rejected.
the competition that year. So it varies year to year. So the people who don't get in, I know their feelings. So
these 11 who got rejected, they still had the required results from the GCSE.
Yeah, it's like this. So they go to the interview. So interviews,
to be selected, you should have some certain level of marks, yeah?
Yeah, so if I summarize the process, then we can talk each in a detail.
Exactly.
So the whole process starts whenever a student is genuinely want to become a doctor, right? So some students decide very early in their studies, maybe secondary school. Some wait for GCSE O-level, some slightly later. So ideally it has to start just before O-level, because subject selection for GCSE will be very important. Then the process starts. So they have to go through a commitment to show that they can withstand 5 years in medical school. So again, that will involve a process. And then
I'm going to ask a question here. Well, even the engineering degrees and most of the degrees might be about 5 years, but why the medical school want to force these kids doing so many things?
Yes, so you don't want dropouts, you want them to commit.
Exactly,
and it's a career which will be lifelong. You might retire, after that still you might do some voluntary work. So it's a noble profession, but it's a very responsible profession.
Exactly, because it's very responsible. That's why they do all these tests to see if they are physically and mentally they're fit enough to.
Yes. So as I said, it's a process. It's not just one exam.
So yeah, let's go ahead, please. Yeah, continue talking.
So say someone wants to decide on a medical career. So say he's in year 10 or year 9. So the process will start there, as I said. So you have to, it's a strategy how to apply to, you have to have your own strategy. You have to do a lot of homework. So while you are doing the GCSE, then once GCSE is done, then you commit your subject
selection. Yeah.
So you have a choice, but English, mathematics are very important.
English, mathematics.
Yes. So some medical school, so they all have their own screening way. Some medical school will screen people, say that okay, they have to have so much in English. Others will get rejected. Only 1 or 2. Then some others will have other criteria.
Right.
So once they are in that, after they're done at GCSE level, then the real preparation starts. So there is something called a personal statement. So personal statement is very important when you are applying for medical school. Basically, you are telling the medical school that you are the one you should select, or the medical school should select.
Right.
So personal statement is your selling point, and it has to be done by the person who is applying for it. No point getting other people to, because on the interview they are going to question you on the personal statement. If the personal statement is not right, then you are going to be caught there. So how the personal statement should be written is, it's not just writing an essay. It's about you and what you've done, and there are some qualities doctors should have. So you should display those qualities in that personal statement.
Can you point out some things?
Yes. Like, say, we might ask some people, okay, what can you describe to me in your voluntary experience, where you showed your leadership skills, or can you tell me where you are a good team leader? So like that, you should have a proper example, and you should have been genuinely there. Say you were volunteering and you were managing a team. Right. So if you were actually in that situation, rather than making up a story, your answer will be smooth. Say you were working as a volunteer in a pharmacy, right? So when you are doing that, you are to maybe dispense medication. There are people coming and check the stocks, see whether the medicine's expired. So that's a very good example of prioritizing task, which is a very important aspect in your career as a medical.
Okay.
Yeah. So what they say is, don't just write an essay. You tell them what you learned and what you have reflected on that. So don't just say that I've been to hospital, I've done 3 months of this and I saw this. No, this is what I learned. This, reflecting on that, this is the quality which will take me to medical school.
Ramali, just hold on, don't forget, there is a caller there. Hello? Hello, hi.
Hello, can I talk to the doctor, please?
Yes, please, go ahead. What's your name?
Okay, my name is, well, I'm talking on behalf of my wife, Begum. She is going to take a vaccine for COVID, yeah.
Okay.
But she's allergic to amoxicillin or a kind of fruit called jackfruit, kathal. So she's all right to take the vaccine?
Okay, we'll quickly go ahead because the program is completely different, but we'll give you an answer. This person's calling, his wife is going to take this COVID vaccine. You are the right person to ask. And she's allergic to amoxicillin and she can't eat jackfruit. Can she have the vaccine?
Okay. So I'm happy to answer this question, but any individual circumstances, I have to say this, has to be clarified with your GP. But my take is there aren't any antibiotics in the Pfizer vaccine. And we have been giving Pfizer vaccines to people who have allergic to amoxicillin, penicillin in the past. And both the jackfruit and the amoxicillin, you can take it. That's the advice. It's the Pfizer vaccine I'm talking about.
So the vaccine, you can take it, sir. All right, thank you very much. Okay, please go ahead to the program. Yeah.
So now, I mentioned a lot of things which I wanted to get it in order.
Yeah.
So I talked about volunteering. So volunteering is very important to get into a medical school. That is, there are two types of volunteering. One, you should show that you can commit to long term, which is you may be ideally either work in a care home or helping out somewhere for a year.
Wow.
Yeah. So that shows that you can commit for a longer period.
Your determination.
Yeah. So that all need to be sorted when you are just after your GCSE, when you are preparing, because your personal statement is going to be based on your work experience and or everything. Your personal experience, you give it before you apply. And there is something called short-term work experience, where you go to either GP practice or a hospital and you get some work experience. 3 weeks, 2 weeks, more than enough, where you see various, you see yourself in that situation when you become a doctor. So very important, those two.
Excellent. Yeah. Ramali, please hold on there. I think we are reaching near our break. So anyway, if someone joined the program today, we are talking about the secrets behind medical school entrance. This is really important programs. Even if you don't want to go to medical school, you can always advise someone in your family or in your friend circle. So please be with us and we'll see you shortly after a break. Hi, welcome back to Health Talk with Dr. Akram. Today we are talking about the secrets behind medical school entrance, and this is really important. In our studio, Dr. Mohamed Ramali, who is here, who is one of the person who interviews students for medical school. So we're talking about it in the first segment. We talked about the personal statement, how important it is, and we touched upon the volunteering and work experience. Now let's go and summarize this volunteering. Ramali, can you give to our viewers in point form what is this volunteering, what they need to do, what they should not do?
Okay. So this is one of the most important aspects of the application. You have to commit yourself for long-term work experience or volunteering. So 1 year in a care home or somewhere volunteering. That is essential. and also a short-term work experience. You had to show that what you saw in the hospital or GP practice is you are learning from those. So like having a role model doctor. You saw this role model, I want to be like that. How did he cope with this? How did he? So rather than making, what you should not do is, you should not write anything which you didn't see or didn't do, because you are going to be grilled or asked on that personal statement we have written. So it is very important to be honest and reflect on what you saw rather than writing a story.
Writing a story.
And what you learned. That is the important bit. So if you can take that message across when you are writing a personal statement from your volunteering, reflect on what you did and how it affects you as a person to become a doctor, and you have to sell that quality.
Exactly. And this is same with the work experience?
Yes, work experience also, it's short term, so 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So say you were in an operating theatre, there was a surgeon who was doing a case, and what you liked about that surgeon, how he handled stressful situation, and go back and say that I got this quality, I've done this, so I can handle these sort of situations.
That's very good. Okay, what age can they go for work experience? From what age?
Very important question. I've been asked this question many times. I get a lot of calls to work in my hospital I work. 16 years is a cutoff.
For the hospitals, yeah?
Yes. If you are less than 16 years, you can't have work experience in the hospital. You may be able to do some voluntary work there. It's up to that trust or institute, but not in the hospital. No work experience.
Can they get work experience elsewhere?
They can get, especially Akram. This is very important nowadays because it's very difficult to get into hospitals to get work experience. So don't be disheartened. Talk to doctors, talk to medical students, and discuss about that. That could be not a substitute. That could be something less than a work experience, but you can talk about it in your personal space, because it's not easy to get into hospital to work experience because of the current climate. So read a lot. Read articles, read journals. That will be part of your work experience, because as I said, because the COVID situation, lots of students, prospective students, are unable to go to hospital.
Exactly.
So we have to protect them as well. So there are things which you can do.
So the alternative is they call a doctor whom they know, or a medical student, and they have a session with them.
Yeah,
and they talk about
to them. You don't need to know them. You know, we love talking to people.
Exactly.
Any student, even if you don't know, if you got somebody's number, they will talk to you because they like talking to prospective students.
Perfect. GCSE results.
Yes.
So GCSE subjects.
Subjects, yeah. So that's again very important. Most of the universities in the country would like you to have chemistry and biology. There are exceptions without biology. So chemistry and biology are very important.
Chemistry and biology.
Chemistry is very important. If you have chemistry, good marks, you are nearly there. Because most universities will ask for 3 A's to give you the
minimum 3 A's.
Minimum. Yeah. But there are some universities will ask for A star, one at least. Like UCL, Imperial will ask A star.
A star.
So if you choose 3 subjects, but 2 either chemistry must be there, biology and math, you can choose your 3rd subject which you like. If you choose all 3 subjects difficult, you'll spend less time on chemistry and maybe biology and spending. So choose 2.
Chemistry, biology, and the 3rd one,
any subject you like,
which is easy. And like it.
So that'll be.
I'll get you an A star.
Brilliant. Yes.
That's a good point. Yes. Okay, so we talked about that, and university visits. How does it help?
Yes. Again, very important. As I said, there is a strategy. You have to do your homework before you apply. So first choose university. You can apply for 4 universities, medical universities. So once you have applied, because you are going to be spending either 5 or 6 years in that university.
And the university and the city?
Yes. So it's very important you pay a visit to that university. Because one question they would ask you is, what do you like about our university?
Wow.
So
yes.
You have to do your homework on that university, and you have to again tell everything you know good about it. If you don't read about it, you won't get it. So say if they ask, what do you like about university? Alumni. There are famous people produced from that university. They love that. And don't forget to talk about the city. take how much you love that city, what sort of favorite things are there. So that's very important again. And don't forget, there are two ways of teaching in universities. One is problem-based learning, and there is traditional lecture-based. So you have to do your homework. If you like problem-based learning, choose a university which they do. If you don't like problem-based learning, which you like the traditional lecture system, choose that university.
So the medical school, there are two types of medical school.
Yes.
One teaches the traditional medical school, the lecture-based one. The other one is the problem-based one.
Some have mixture.
Some has a mixture.
Yeah. And don't forget your city, because if you don't like London, no point applying for a London university. If you want to go for a campus site, so it will be outside. So there are lots of factors to take into consideration. And when you go a university visit, very important, because they will show you accommodation, what type of accommodation, how is the transport from the accommodation to the university, where are your supermarkets. It's very important, the university visit is.
So you have to apply for a university visit. You can't just
No,
show
you have
up
to
yourself.
apply, and you will reserve a place, and then you can go. There will be talks. There will be people helping you. There will be a tour of the university, and there are talks as well. And you get a chance to ask any questions. So best people to ask questions are the students. And the students are the people who are going to be guiding you around, volunteering, helping. So you can ask anything from those students, because it's very important.
Where do you get information for university visits?
Right. So best place to go is website. So you go to website about each university.
Each university.
Yeah, and they will tell you what you require to apply, what sort of thing they expect, and your open days. You call it open days.
Open days, right.
You reserve and go. So that's again very important when it comes to application. And don't forget which university, because there are courses, 6-year courses and 5-year courses. I'm talking about the first time entrance straight away from A level.
6 year or 5 years?
Yeah.
Right.
So some universities, they do what is known as an intercalate BSc. So you do a BSc while you are doing the medical course. So like UCL, Oxford, Cambridge, the intercalate BSc is essential. So you have to do 6 years.
6 years.
And one of that, say for example, UCL, third year is your intercalate BSc. So you do first 2 years medicine, third year is your BSc, and go back to medicine again. And when you pass out with a MBBS and an IBSc, which is called intercalate BSc. So if you are prepared to do 6 years, you have to choose those universities. And some other universities, it's your choice, selective. If you want, you can do a 6th year, otherwise you don't.
You just do 5
Because
years.
it's very important, the competition for postgraduate after your medical degree becoming very, very competitive. So if you have an extra degree, which you already, in your application, you have already scored some marks higher than the others because of the extra degree.
So you having that extra degree during that university helps you in your postgraduate?
Yes. You are losing out not losing out, you are spending 1 more year studying, but for your postgraduate is very important.
Exactly. But anyway, the university time is the best time in your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You'll love it, because we all been there. I've been there, and I can see current students, although they are doing this very difficult medical course, they love. I can see that.
Yes, if you can afford to go for 6 years, that's what I would say. Yeah. Okay. Why do we have to climb up mountains and down and carrying backpacks and sleeping in the tent?
Yes.
Duke of Edinburgh.
Yes. So you have to show that you are skilled at everything. So Duke of Edinburgh is something where you go on expedition. So there are various levels. So you can show you can now learn leadership. So that's very important as a doctor in future. Let's put it this way, all doctors are leaders. So you will have to take some sort of responsibility when you are a doctor more than your work. Like you are the research lead, or you are a team leader on equipments or something like that. And working as in a team. No point, it's all about teamwork when it comes to medicine. So you have multidisciplinary meeting, when you are in operating theatre, you are working with an anesthetist, HCA, the scrub nurse. So being in a team. So Duke of Edinburgh, or there are other programs as well, you are working as a team. So you have to be a team player, a team leader, both. So that sort of experiments or experience will give you that. That's one way of doing it. And there's another one, you don't need to do DUCA, that's one thing called NCS, National Citizen Service, where you go and live out for about 3 weeks and you do various things. That's equally good as well. So
Cadets?
Yeah, that's too.
Cadetting,
You have to show that you have those qualities and you have got it through experience.
And they also look into if you have some extra specialities like some talents in sports, swimming,
Definitely.
like tennis or whatever.
Definitely.
And music,
Yes,
drama.
they're like something extra than your academic thing. So, as you said, sportsmen, they love it because universities got sports teams. They like tennis players, cricketers. So anything extra, they like it. And of course, any other extracurricular activities and music.
So what level do they have to go in that one? Do they? Oh, it depends on the university.
Yes, I mean, music, you don't go to the highest level, but you just don't do it just for the sake of getting into medical
Getting
school.
into medical school.
You have to do it if you like it, if you are passionate, you do it.
Exactly.
And if you like something, there's no end. Even in your university, you can carry on doing it because there are doctors I know who are in bands. That is, again, that's a passionate extra thing. You can, in this stressful job, that's a way of relaxing afterwards. Sports again. So don't do it just to get into medical school.
Just to get into medical school.
You should like it.
Okay. Let's talk about UK CATs and BMATs.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, medical school entrance involves lots of exams. So, after you do your GCSE O level, you prepare your personal statement, but you have to go through one entrance exam. One is called UCAT, and the other one is called BMAT. I think biomedical aptitude test is BMAT, and I can't remember exactly the UCAT stands for, but there are two different types of exams. Most of the universities ask for UCAT, which is like an advanced version of the 11 plus. So there is an average score, you get it, and different universities have different cutoff criteria. BMAT, few universities ask for BMAT. That people find, or there is a belief, I think it's true, it's harder than the UCAT. But if you like it, if you are good in maths, writing essays, you will score well. So those two you have to score well to get into medical school.
Okay, Ramali, thank you very much, and it's time for another break again. So anyway, if anyone joined, we are talking a really subject, the secrets behind medical school entrance, and so be with us. We're going to see you after a short break. Thank you. Hi, welcome back to Iron Health Talk with Dr. Akram. Today we are talking about the secrets behind medical school entrance. In our studio, our special guest, Dr. Mohamed Ramali, is here. He's one of the person who sits behind this interview panel. But so far, if you have joined, we talked about the importance of GCSE subjects to choose, work experience, volunteering, and how does the university visits helps, Duke of Edinburgh Challenge, personal statements, and we touched a little bit about UCATs and BMATs, and we're going to talk about that. After that, we're going to talk about the medical school interview. This is really important for anyone who is going to go for an interview, even for a test score job or a medical school job. So be with us, and Ramali, welcome back again. Let's talk about UCATs, BMATs.
So UCAT, University Clinical Aptitude Test, that's what UCAT stands for. So it is an exam where some universities use it as a way of selecting medical school because there are lots of applicants, so they have to have some sort of filtering. So it has got 4 or 5 components. The important thing is UCAT, you should not be leaving it last minute. It's an exam, so you have to at least have 4 to 6 weeks to prepare. It's not an exam where you can do it within 2 weeks, because that's very important, you get good marks. You don't want to do your work experience, voluntary work very well and not do well in the UK CAT, because that's all needs to be there to get in. And unless you have everything, you won't get an interview, because interview is your last hurdle. So if you get in to get as far as the interview, you are nearly there. So a preparation is very important. There are lots of help available for UCAT. There are website. You just need to practice. There are practice papers. UCAT, the important thing is you may have the knowledge, but it's pressure against time. So that's a different subject, because they will purposely give you hard questions. If you waste time on your hard question and miss your easy question, you are going to fail. So you flag up your hard questions, leave them on a side, score as much as possible in your easy ones, and try to get maximum mark. BMAT is slightly different, slightly harder, people say. It's got an essay as well. So that is again preparation. So that is what I can say about those two exams. So can I?
Perfect. Let's talk about
interview. That's what I most like, because I sit on the panel. So interviews. There are two types of interviews which happens in medical school, because you have worked so hard, you got an interview, you don't want to mess it up at that stage. Okay. So one is a panel interview where some universities have. There are 2 or 3 people, and you are at the end, and they ask you questions. So that is called panel interview, where they will try to get from you whether you got all the qualities to be a doctor. So empathy, sympathy, and whether you know about medical ethics. So it's very important when you answer these questions, especially ethic ones, you concentrate on the 4 basic principles of good medical practice. Maleficence, don't do harm to patients. Beneficence, do good to patients. Justice, be fair. Autonomy, give the patient's choice.
4 points, yeah?
Yes. Any answers should be based on that. That shows that you are the one to go for. So then, as I said, so there will be 2 or 3 people sitting, mainly 2. Third person will be there. He could be a student, and they are asking you questions, basic questions. Why do you want to become a doctor? Tell me about why do you like this university? So everyone is prepared well with these answers. You have to have that extra edge. So when you ask that question, don't just tell what you did, what you learned from the experience, and how you have reflected in. So tell me about your work experience. I've done this, I've spent this much in hospital, I've seen a surgeon operating this. That's not good enough. I've done this, I saw this situation, I reflected on it, this is what I learned. That should be your answer. That will take you one step ahead. So there'll be 5 questions asked, usually in one particular medical school. They mark 0.5 per questions out of 5. So if you get maximum, if you get 3.54, you are there. Very rarely people get full 5 marks, 5 out of 5. So you can't miss out once you reach to that interview levels. Then the other type is, most universities has what is called as MMI, which is multiple mini interviews. Rather than having traditionally 2 people here and the candidate there, they have stations where they test those qualities in each of the stations. So one station is about 5 to 7 minutes. They'll have about 5 to 7 stations, or sometimes 10 stations. You have to be prepared for about 1.5 hours to 2 hours. So there's separate rooms or stations. So there'll be a person or 2. Some stations are difficult, where they will test you how you break bad news. So like there's an actor and you are the doctor. So they'll tell, okay, your neighbor gave the cat to look after you and it died, and tell me how you are going to explain that to the neighbor, I'm the actor. So those sort of things or ethical questions, like you choose between things. You've been given this amount of money, you have to choose how to distribute it, and there's a pregnant mother who needs for some important medication, or somebody needs a renal transplant, or a baby who supposed to live only 6 years, she needs a lung quickly. So there's no right or wrong answers in those things. How you put it out, that is the important thing. So multiple mini interviews, people feel that's a bit I can't say difficult, time pressure, you run around, and there'll be one on calculations, so mathematics, like BMI. this is the height, this is the weight, tell me the BMI. Or they are given graphs. So if you do well in that interview, you will pass. And that's your dream coming true, you are in the interview panel. So like the traditional one, you make sure you are dressed well, very smart, make eye contact when you talk to them, and pause and talk, and don't just rattle it out as if you memorize it. You think and talk. That goes to show. So we all know at this side, we sit here, they are very nervous, very anxious. Some people come from far for this interview. So we know that. We give time for that to relax, and we'll ask some easy questions. How are you? How far did you have to travel? And then when you start the questions, we want them to be relaxed, and we want them to get into medical school. So we can spot out the ones who are genuinely who want to do it, and the ones who have been forced to do this. It's easy when you ask a few questions.
That's really important. Okay, you talked about clothing. What do they have? What do they have to dress?
Very smartly dressed, suit, tie, and ladies also need to be smartly dressed. And how you walk, greet them. Those things, when you are preparing for the interview, you have to work on those things. Say good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and they will ask you to sit down and then relax, make eye contact, and start talking in a relaxed manner, and don't just start immediately. Give a few seconds, think about your answer. Like they will always ask with us easier question. Why do you want to become a doctor? So if you start off saying that my parents were doctors, that's certain, no, that's not going to take you anywhere.
No.
So I got these qualities, I love, and I've been following this. And also don't forget, make sure you read a very good book where you can talk about. I've read this book, which I saw this character doing this. It was very fascinating. So, and sometimes it's good in your personal statement to show that you have read this book. I'm sure you are an ardent reader. You've written book, Akram. So any book which involves some sort of medical
Yes.
topics is good.
Yeah.
And they expect that as well. So interview is, I mean, if you are very well prepared, you should really enjoy the interview, and then you should come out.
Are you allowed to say us what's the best answer you got from a student who was trying to apply for medical school? Are you allowed to say something?
No, I can allow that. It's not like an exam, a right or wrong answer. They are put into difficult scenarios sometimes, Akram.
Yeah.
So most of them, they are all prepared. They give good answers.
Good answers.
Yeah, but what I would suggest is sometimes you get a chance to ask the question from the student. So some interview panels, they are a student. They don't ask questions.
They don't ask.
But they are there. You can ask the student the question. So I will give a tip there. Towards the end of the interview, they might say, okay, any questions you want to ask? This is so and so. He's a third year medical student. So you can ask any question.
So that question also matters, isn't it? What he is asking.
No, that doesn't. No. So that doesn't matter for the scoring.
For the scoring,
No.
right?
But that will show that so like, okay, some people ask, okay, what clubs are there? Can I take part? So the best answer, best question actually, I got from one of the prospective candidates asking, would you choose this medical school again? So in front of the two consultants or whoever, he couldn't. So they always say yes, but they love the school they get into. They love that 5 or 6 years of medicine. So that is how it works. So MMI, you have to be really prepared even for this. Another thing is, don't forget to read the current journals, current news. One favorite question they ask is, give me an example of the most medical innovation which has happened during last 5 years.
Oh, really?
We got the best vaccine now produced. That will be the best answer nowadays. mRNA vaccine, first time.
Yeah.
Some people tell about robots, robotic surgery. Some people talk about stem cells. That's a general question they'll ask. What is the best medical invention? So you have to read a lot on the current topics and be prepared.
What books or what journals can they read?
Start from newspaper and read the
like Sun.
broad. I don't want to be naming, but any newspaper which
talks about
now
medical
currently
topics.
you talk about you read newspapers, everything is about vaccine or COVID-19 or how to safely get on with their lives. So anything which is related to, and you can't just do it.
They don't have to read the British Medical Journal, things like that. No.
They
so
don't.
they expect them to read the newspapers and to
some
analyze
article,
them.
and
Some
every
articles.
day now there are media. You know what's happening in the medical world.
Internet, you can of course read articles on internet. Yeah.
You know what's there in the medical world, and you have to really know that, because there are lots of people coming. You have to be slightly above the rest.
So if they do a Google search, what is the top medical?
Yes, and that will be there.
Exactly.
And you have to know it in and out, so that you can say.
So the best thing is read a few articles, and then always you can compare here and there, rather than you just go into one article.
Yeah. I'm sure 2021 interview, there'll be interviews about COVID questions and vaccines. So mRNA vaccine is one of the best answers, because we have never had an mRNA vaccine before used on patients.
mRNA vaccine. That is a big breakthrough, isn't it?
Very big breakthrough, although they have had it in the past at trial stages, never came out to be given to a healthy human as part of a vaccination program.
Ramali, we are coming to the end of the program. We got maybe less than a minute. You are in the panel for vaccination as well. Do you want to give a quick message about vaccination?
Right. So my message about the vaccination is, there is no risk-free or zero-risk alternative to this dreaded disease. So if you are invited to give the vaccine, please get the vaccine, because that's the only way we can get out of this. Both the vaccines are clean vaccines. There are not many contraindications, but it's all in the media. You can check it, but just check with your own GP if you have any issues. But you should take it. That's the way we can come out of this dreaded thing.
Thank you very much for Ramali for being with us. And this is really interesting program, the secrets behind medical school entrance. If anyone wants to learn more, there is a lot in the internet, and we are planning to do more YouTube clips about these ones in the future. So keep an eye on Health Talk with Dr. Akram YouTube channel as well. And for you guys, thank you for staying with us on Iron Health Talk with Dr. Akram. If you have any further questions, you can please email us on healthtalkwithirontv.co.uk or our YouTube channel, Instagram or Facebook, and we'll respond to you as soon as possible. So until our next program, look after yourself. See you there. Thank you.